Hi guys, so I don't think this is a very difficult issue to understand. We have asylum seekers and refugees on one side and economic migrants on the other. Now, a refugee is a person who has fled their own country because they are at risk of serious human rights violations and persecution there. An asylum seeker is a person who's left their country and is seeking protection from prosecution and serious human rights violations in another country, but hasn't yet been legally recognised as a refugee and is waiting to receive a decision on their asylum claim. A migrant is someone who's moving to another country to work or to study, but it's important to remember that there isn't a legal definition for this type of person, meaning they will be forced to make an asylum claim, for example, if they don't have the correct paperwork. The only people who can legally determine who is a refugee and who isn't is the Home Office, not your average Joe. This was pointed out perfectly by David Lammy on LBC.
Steve says, David, stop comparing displaced Ukrainian families with illegal migrants. It's not a grey area, it's crystal clear. These women and children are in our care while their husbands, sons and brothers fight evil. I've got to say, Steve, did you not look at what was going on in Syria? Did you not see that Russian-backed troops were doing absolutely the same thing? Do you not recognise that there were people fleeing Syria in exactly the same circumstances? You know, it's wrong to assume that one group of people claiming asylum are legal and another group of people coming from similarly war-torn areas are illegal. That's my view.
Okay. I believe what Steve is trying to say here is, well, there are people who look like me, and I'm happy to have them come in, but there are another group of people who don't look like me, and I don't want those people to come in. Now, the whole issue of illegal immigration, of course, as I said at the beginning, this isn't a legal definition. There is no illegal immigration. The only way somebody could be, quote unquote, illegally in the country is if they, for example, applied for a visa, they received a visa, and they overstayed the visa. Then they would be undocumented, or they would be in the country, in a sense, illegally. It isn't illegal to cross the sea and arrive in the UK and make a claim of asylum. That's not illegal. Now, you have to... I know this, it's very powerful, the type of language we hear from the likes of Nigel Farage, who looks across the sea and sees dinghies and says, look at all these illegal immigrants. Once again, illegal immigrants isn't a useful term. It's a pointless term. It's just toxic rhetoric to use against people who are maybe making an asylum claim, or maybe there are people moving to the UK to work, which, you know, after Brexit you would imagine would be a good thing, that many people would be welcoming that. But you can't determine somebody's status until they have arrived in the country and applied for asylum. The Home Office will decide whether that asylum claim is based on some merit, or if it has to be rejected. Now, if the people have been rejected, they can make a claim, they can appeal it. They can appeal it, I think, maybe once or twice. But after that appeal process has been exhausted, they have to be deported. And I'm not going to say that people should not be deported. In most cases, if you failed your application, you have to be deported. You have to respect the law of the land. But in most cases, it seems in the UK that most applications are successful. So once again, you can't point at a boat. You can't point at a group of people and say, well, those people don't deserve to be given refugee status, which is after the application for asylum. You can't say that because, first of all, you don't work at the Home Office. You haven't processed their claim. You haven't looked at their paperwork. You don't know the situation. All you've got, the only information you're going off is what they look like, what Nigel Farage has told you, and probably what you've read in the Sun or the Daily Mail. So I really wish we'd put this issue to bed, because as I said at the beginning, it's not difficult. It's actually quite simple. People arrive in the country, they make a claim, the Home Office decide, and that should be it. Politicians like Nigel Farage and others should not be getting involved. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.